Hey, this is Alex.
This is Maximiliano.
And this is Red Light on Fifth. Usually I'm behind the camera, but tonight I wanted to do the interview because we have the one and only Jamey Cummins.
Jamey.
We got a great set in store for you guys. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of great performances coming out in the coming weeks. And without further ado, let's get on with the show.
to sleep on me.
Welcome back. I'm here with Jamey Cummins and Maximiliano again. Hi. Thanks so much, Jamey, for playing that set with us today.
Killer set. Killer set.
Well, thank you guys.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. It's really cool to kind of know you in so many different capacities, as a teacher at the school, as a songwriter, as a performer, and it just really feels special to kind of watch it all come together for your set here on Red Light on 5th.
Oh, thank you. It was a blast. It was really, really great experience, great environment, and I love that y'all are featuring, original music in this great setting.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've come a long way. I feel like we're kind of starting to dial it in, so I was really excited to have you here tonight to perform for us. And, I just kind of want to take a chance. We all did, to kind of get to know the man behind the music. So, I know that you moved to Austin, it's probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, almost 12 now.
Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy. And you came from Davenport, Iowa.
Yep.
Did you move with Sarah?
I moved about a year and a half before.
And Sarah
her.
was on the piano.
Yeah, Sarah was on piano earlier. Also, she teaches here as well at the school. But yeah, I moved to Austin maybe a year and a half before her. She came down. Yep.
So you played a lot of great songs tonight. One song that you didn't play tonight, but that I really love, is called Maybe Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, it kind of sounds like you're kind of thinking about where you want to move to, like, launch your music career. And you talk about maybe LA, maybe New York, maybe Chicago.
Yeah.
But you ended up landing in Austin, and I was curious why you picked Austin for your kind of career in music.
Well, actually, our drummer tonight, Ryan Neubauer, is he moved down here about a year before me, and I was already kind of burned out on trying to be a full-time musician in Iowa. And it wasn't that there weren't opportunities up there; it was more that I was playing a lot of traditional jazz and swing, and there was a really dwindling population of people that heard that. I came down here during South by to visit in 2011, and I saw Neubauer, who was, the drummer. I saw him playing some vintage jazz for this huge packed room full of people in their 20s and 30s. I was like, wow, this is like happening down here. There's like young...
People still think it's cool.
Yeah, young people are interested in this music here, so that kind of sold me. And
so it's kind of the swing scene, like the traditional jazz scene, that kind of got you here in the first place.
For sure, because I already knew, like, if you're playing rock and roll or indie rock and stuff, I already kind of knew there was going to be a scene for that. Mm-hmm. But, my day-to-day, I play a lot of that vintage jazz and stuff, so I wanted to be able to do that and pursue original music at the same time.
And I think that's really one of the things I really find attractive about your kind of musical styles, is that you are kind of this chameleon in that you do a lot of different things. You have like a pretty prolific career as like a traditional jazz guitar player. Like, I think you're known in the community. as that. But then like tonight we saw you in the kind of indie rock vein. How do you kind of bounce back and forth? Is it two different things, or is it all kind of a continuum?
Yeah, it's hard, and I think for me, I can't just be one thing, and sometimes I'm super envious of people that are like, this is what I do, this is my identity, and they're 100% in that, because not only do you get better at that thing by specifically doing the one style, but I think you also create more opportunities, and your brand is much easier to communicate to people. Whereas like, well, yeah, I do this indie rock thing, but I play vintage jazz and swing, and I just kind of compartmentalize. When I book for those other bands, I basically approach it as if that's the only thing I do. And then when I do this, if I played like a show with other indie rock bands, I would just be like, that's what we are tonight.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to be. I found that I don't think there's ever going to be a time where I can do something that is like all encompassing,
sure,
like brings all of the influences together. Although I'm envious when I hear artists like that, where I'm like, oh man, like Andrew Bird, that's a guy that like you can kind of hear a million different styles come out in one.
But like when you listen a little more carefully to your music, you can hear, and kind of like what we heard tonight from your more like rock band, part of what I really love about that is on the surface, it's like hooky songs, they're catchy, but then as you listen a little more carefully, you realize the chord progressions, there's curveballs in there's things you might not really expect. And to me, that's kind of like the hallmark of a great song, is like it is accessible at a first listen, but then on repeated listens, it starts to kind of reveal itself to be a little more deep.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. We try to do that. Yeah.
Well, and especially like knowing you, we worked together as fellow guitar teachers at Eastside Music, but during COVID, we were working on courses, basically trying to kind of keep ourselves busy, and we kind of worked together on a songwriting course.
Yeah.
And I am not a songwriter. I've kind of like accepted that, and I'm really enamored and fascinated by people who can do that, who can kind of distill an idea into like a 3-minute song. And I'm kind of curious, like how you get into that, like how you discover a song.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of different ways to go about it. Whether you're the type that starts with like a chord progression first, a lot of guitar players, I think we tend to come about it with the chords first. Maybe I don't know if that's the case for you, Max, or not. Like
it's like sometimes it is, and sometimes it's one line that you kind of maybe like a sentence or like a little poem. But a lot of times it is chord progressions that you're just kind of repeating. Actually, I have this little loop pedal.
Ah, there you go.
And I kind of build a bunch of loops a long time ago, and I plugged it in last week, and I was like, ooh, that sounds cool. And I built a song out of this loop that I had done probably 2 years ago.
Nice, yeah.
That's kind of neat.
So, yeah, I think in a similar way, like I come about it with usually from the chords and then some melody being hummed over top. And more recently, I've just been like writing down song title ideas where I'm like, oh, that would be a good song title. I'll come back to that. Like, I think I want to write a song called Who Said What Now? So we'll see how that comes out.
Knowing kind of your like production process, because you've done a lot of work with Austin, who is kind of one of the creators of the show. He's the guy in the studio running audio. Maybe you could
guitar player too.
Yeah, and he played in the band too. You guys are all kind of multifaceted artists. I know that like oftentimes the song will start for you as kind of on your iPhone.
Yeah.
And then kind of evolve into a studio production. And I think on some of your songs you end up kind of keeping some of the original tracks from the iPhone onto the final mix.
We did. I think one thing we found is like acoustic guitars recorded on there, like because the phone just like compresses everything so much that it kind of sits really well in a mix. It's a weird thing, like, when you record an acoustic guitar and you want it to sound full and amazing like the instrument should sound, but then when you add drums and bass and all these other things, you have to kind of gut it. You have to cut out the low end, and it ends up being this like paper thin sounding thing by itself, but it sounds great in the mix. So we found that just these like kind of crappy phone recordings kind of worked perfect.
Just like on the phone recording. Like
yeah.
And I've thought of that. 'Cause sometimes I'll do something, I'm like, that sounds really good, or I like it.
Yeah.
But I've never thought of actually bringing it to a track. That's cool.
How do the songs kind of grow and evolve as they go from the like iPhone kind of voice memo scratch to the final finished production?
Yeah, I mean, usually I'll bring in a demoed idea into Austin here, and we'll kind of listen to it and start to replace things. You know, usually like definitely we'll replace the drums with a live drummer, and like Ryan will come in, and that immediately kicks it up a notch when you have real drums happening. And then you start to think, okay, well, what else needs to be replaced? But the two main things that almost always need to be retracked are the drums and the vocals.
Yeah.
And then we might live with some other things that I demoed. But Austin is often being like, let's redo the guitars. Let's play through some real amps and not, use these like modeled amp sounds.
It does kind of seem like a push and pull between like traditional and trying to like see how far you can push it in the studio. And to me, that's kind of part of what makes it so cool is finding that happy medium.
And I would like to do more of a live thing for the next project. I think, like I recently just did a jazz album here as well that was all totally live in a room, no headphones, no click track, no nothing like that. And we basically scheduled like 3 days, two rehearsal days and a tracking day. And it was super fun. And obviously it worked for that genre and style, but I think that would really be cool for a rock and roll album as well. Yeah.
Well, again, the songs were really awesome tonight. I know that Stay Connected is one that you did, and that's a song that I've really loved. And
thanks.
It kind of like captures the times. I know maybe you wrote it a couple years ago, but the idea, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the idea behind that song.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think that used to be, I don't know if it is anymore, but it used to be like Facebook's like, slogan. So I don't think it is anymore. So maybe we're good in copyrights, but I always
connected.
Just thought it was this funny thing that on, social media is this double-edged sword that does connect us to, but at times, I think it also really isolates us and makes us envious of other people's lives that we shouldn't even really be knowing like what's going on in their lives, like or comparing ourselves to it, and it's just this weird new problem we have. I think.
And I mean, I kind of take it also from like the other side of like posting stuff just to get those likes, just to kind of get that validation.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting thing. I mean, it's one thing as a person where like maybe there's kind of like good and bad, but as a band, it's kind of you have to do that. You have to put your stuff out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, is that something you kind of wrestle with, like just writing the music because you have something to say, but then like how do I market it? How do I get it out there?
Oh yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, I'm just pretty bad at that, at the marketing part of it. But I still will post things, like I recently did like this little instrumental album thing, and it was kind of a lot of film score style stuff.
Incidental music.
Yeah, incidentals is what it's called. And I was like, well, I want to post about it, but I want to like just do an art project. So I found a bunch of like public domain silent film stuff.
Oh, nice.
That I matched up the music with. And then did those as like the post for it, you know? And whether or not that was like a successful promotional thing, I don't really care, but it was like fun to do.
Yeah.
And I think if you can blend those, if you can be like, okay, I want to not create content, but I want to like make art. I just want to like do something fun and artsy. Then you can kind of maybe like kill two birds or something.
Yeah. I mean, that is like, if you can kind of keep that in your lens of why you're doing it, because you just want to make, it's fun to make stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just make it and put it out there, make stuff that you'd want to hear. But the other side is you kind of have to do something. Otherwise it doesn't go anywhere. No one will hear it.
For sure. Yeah. And if you strike the right chord with people and it just so happens that the thing you enjoy making is also connecting with them, then you've kind of figured something out.
And you never really know which one it's going to be that does
no,
that.
you don't.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Well, I love it, man. Thank you so much for playing here tonight. Is any of this music coming out soon? Yeah,
actually, we are releasing Stay Connected with Automatic from Downtown, which was the last song we played, through myself and E.M.R, which Austin is running the Eastside Music Recording. Oh, he did a great job with the mix. I'm excited to have those out there. So
nice.
In the next couple months or so.
Come out this summer. Maybe right around the time this episode comes out, if we can kind of thread the needle.
That'd be great.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Jamey.
Thank you.
Jamey Cummins, check him out. Are you playing around town anytime soon?
Hopefully soon with the rock band. Sure. I play in a bunch of, jazz and vintage swing and random sideman gigs, but looking to book some more of the original indie rock stuff.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching Red Light on Fifth. Let's get back into the music.
Cool.
Sweet.